What if I told you that the biggest prediction in football right now is completely wrong? Millions of fans, football experts, and even former players believe Portugal is one of the favorites to win the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And honestly, it's easy to see why. They have world-class talent in almost every position, a squad worth hundreds of millions of dollars, young superstars entering their prime, experienced veterans who have already won major trophies, and perhaps the greatest footballer of all time watching over this generation. On paper, Portugal looks unstoppable. But here's the problem. World Cups are not won on paper. They're won under pressure. They're won in moments of chaos. And history suggests that Portugal may be heading toward a painful reality that most people simply aren't talking about. Because when you look beyond the highlights, beyond the social media hype, and beyond the star names, a completely different picture begins to emerge. A picture that suggests Portugal could be one of the most overrated contenders for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So before you place Portugal among the favorites, let's talk about why everyone might be wrong. Chapter 1. The Portugal Hype Train. Visuals. Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Rafael Leão, Vitinha, João Neves. For the first time in decades, Portugal doesn't rely on just one superstar. This team is stacked. In midfield, they have Bruno Fernandes, Vitinha, João Neves, and Bernardo Silva. In attack, they have Rafael Leão, Pedro Neto, Gonçalo Ramos, Diogo Jota, and several emerging talents. Defensively, they possess some of Europe's most experienced defenders. And in goal, they have one of the most reliable goalkeepers in world football. It's easy to understand why many fans believe this is Portugal's golden generation. In fact, some people argue that this squad is stronger than the team that won Euro 2016. Others believe it is the most complete Portuguese team ever assembled, and that's where expectations become dangerous. Because football history is filled with golden generations that never fulfilled their promise. England's golden generation, Belgium's golden generation, the Netherlands in multiple eras. Even Brazil has experienced periods where incredible talent failed to produce World Cup success. Talent alone doesn't guarantee trophies, and Portugal may be learning that lesson the hard way. Chapter 2, the World Cup problem. Visuals, Portugal exits from past tournaments. Portugal has often looked brilliant before World Cups. Then reality hits. Since finishing third in 1966, Portugal has rarely lived up to expectations on the biggest stage. They have produced legendary players. They have produced unforgettable moments, but they have not consistently produced World Cup success. Let's look at recent history. In 2006, they reached the semifinals. Many believed a new era had begun. It didn't. In 2010, they were eliminated by Spain. In 2014, they crashed out in the group stage. In 2018, they lost in the round of 16. In 2022, despite one of the strongest squads in the tournament, they were eliminated by Morocco. And that's the key point. Portugal often enters tournaments with huge expectations. Yet somehow those expectations rarely become reality. Why? Because World Cups expose weaknesses that domestic football can hide, and Portugal still has several major weaknesses. Chapter 3. The Pressure of Expectations. Visuals, players looking frustrated after losses. One thing that separates champions from contenders is pressure, and Portugal has never faced more pressure than they will in 2026. For years, Portugal played as underdogs. Nobody expected them to win. That made them dangerous. Euro 2016 is the perfect example. They entered the tournament without massive expectations. They played freely. They shocked Europe. But 2026 is different. Now people expect Portugal to win, and expectation changes everything. Every mistake becomes a headline. Every draw becomes a crisis. Every defeat becomes a national disaster. Players who perform brilliantly for their clubs suddenly find themselves carrying the weight of an entire country. And history shows that not every talented team handles that pressure well. Chapter 4. The Cristiano Ronaldo Factor. Visuals, Ronaldo through the years. Now let's address the biggest name in Portuguese football history, Cristiano Ronaldo. No player has done more for Portugal. No player has inspired a nation more. No player has changed Portuguese football more. But by 2026, Ronaldo will be 41 years old. And that creates a difficult situation. Even if he isn't a regular starter, his presence will dominate every conversation. Should he start? Should he be benched? Should the team be built around him? Should younger players take over? Every tournament involving Ronaldo becomes partially about Ronaldo. And that's understandable. He's one of the greatest athletes ever. But Portugal's future success depends on becoming more than Cristiano Ronaldo. The greatest World Cup teams usually have a clear identity. Portugal is still searching for theirs. Chapter 5. The Missing Killer Instinct. Visuals, missed chances, close defeats. Here's something that statistics don't always show. The best World Cup teams have a ruthless mentality. When opportunities appear, they punish opponents. Portugal often dominates possession. They create chances. They control games. But control doesn't always equal victory. Against elite opposition, margins become tiny. One missed chance, one defensive mistake, one moment of hesitation, and you're out. We've seen Portugal struggle in these moments before, not because they lack talent, but because tournament football is brutally unforgiving. And sometimes Portugal's performances have looked more impressive than their results. That's a dangerous pattern. Chapter 6. The competition has changed. Visuals: Argentina, France, Spain, Brazil, England. Another reason people may be overestimating Portugal: the competition. Winning a World Cup has never been harder. Look at the teams they'll have to beat. Current champions Argentina, a France squad overflowing with talent, a young and dominant Spain, a hungry England team, a dangerous Brazil, Germany's resurgence, and several dark horses capable of causing major upsets. Portugal isn't competing in isolation. They're competing against some of the strongest football nations in modern history. Even if Portugal improves significantly before 2026, so will everyone else. And that's something many predictions ignore. Chapter 7. Tournament football is unpredictable. Visuals: Morocco 2022. Croatia runs, upset moments. Perhaps the biggest reason everyone could be wrong is simple. World Cups are unpredictable, very unpredictable. Before 2022, who predicted Morocco would reach the semifinals? Before 2018, who expected Croatia to reach the final? Before 2014, who predicted Germany would destroy Brazil 7-1? The World Cup doesn't follow logic, it follows moments. A red card, a penalty shootout, an injury, a referee decision. One mistake can erase 4 years of preparation. That's why being a favorite can actually be misleading, because favorites fail all the time. And Portugal is not immune. Chapter 8. What Portugal must do to win. Visuals: team training, celebrations, tactical boards. Now, this doesn't mean Portugal cannot win the World Cup. Far from it. They absolutely can. But several things must happen. Their young stars must continue developing. Their tactical identity must become clearer. Their attack must become more clinical. Their defense must remain consistent. And perhaps most importantly, they must embrace the pressure instead of fearing it, because talent is no longer the issue. Portugal has enough talent. What they need is tournament maturity, the ability to stay calm when everything is on the line, the ability to win ugly, the ability to survive difficult moments. That's what champions do. Conclusion: Visuals: Portugal fans, dramatic music building. So, is Portugal capable of winning the 2026 FIFA World Cup? Absolutely. Do they have one of the most talented squads in international football? Without question. But that's exactly why so many people may be getting this wrong. Because they're focusing on the talent, not the challenges. They're looking at names, not history. They're looking at potential, not reality. Portugal may arrive in 2026 as one of the favorites, but favorites don't automatically become champions. Until Portugal proves they can handle the pressure, defeat elite opponents consistently, and overcome the obstacles that have stopped previous generations, the hype remains exactly that. Hype. And that's why everyone might be wrong about Portugal winning the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Because football's biggest prize isn't awarded to the most talented team, it's awarded to the team that survives every test. And in 2026, Portugal still has a lot to prove. End screen. Do you think Portugal will win the 2026 World Cup, or are they being overrated? Let us know in the comments. And do like and subscribe the channel.